The Discovery. The nebulous purple haze parted before the archival vessel's sensors like ancient curtains drawing back. Chief archaeologist Zena Val watched through all 6 of her optical nodes as the scanning beam cut through the cosmic dust, searching for anything of significance. After 3 decades of studying extinct civilizations, she had learned to temper her expectations. Usually, these deep space expeditions yielded nothing but space debris and disappointment. But today was different. The sensors chirped, a sound she hadn't heard in years. Anomaly detected, announced the ship's eye, mass reading inconsistent with surrounding matter density. Zena's peripheral nodes twitched with excitement as she leaned forward. Display findings. The holographic projection materialized before her, showing something that defied conventional spaceship design, where modern vessels were organic in shape, flowing like liquid metal through space. This was angular, brutal, and purposeful. Its hull was scarred with impact marks that should have torn any ship apart, yet it had endured. Most striking were the massive cannon emplacements, not energy weapons, but genuine projectile launchers, their barrels wide enough to swallow smaller ships whole. Analysis confirms pre-Exodus human design, the AI reported. Designation found in partial database, UNSS Defiant. The name sent a shiver through Zena's crystalline exoskeleton. Humans, the galaxy's greatest mystery. They had appeared on the galactic stage like a supernova, burning bright and fierce, for barely 2 centuries before vanishing. Their disappearance had spawned countless theories, from mass ascension to species-wide suicide, but no one really knew. "Begin detailed scan," she ordered, her voice barely containing her excitement. "And notify the Galactic Alliance Archaeological Council immediately." As the scanning beams played across the massive vessel, Zena noticed something odd. The hull wasn't just scared, it was self-repairing. Microscopic machines, dormant for centuries, still crawled through the metal like blood cells through veins. Energy signature detected, the AI announced suddenly. Internal systems are active. Zena's nodes all focused on one point. That's impossible. Nothing could maintain power for. The ship shuddered, not her ship, the Defiant. Its hull began to pulse with a deep red glow, like a massive heart awakening from suspended animation. Bands of light raced along its surface, and massive plates of armor shifted and realigned themselves. Multiple systems activating, the AI reported, its voice taking on an unusual edge of concern. Detecting quantum entanglement signatures, gravitational manipulation fields, and something else. Something I cannot classify. Zena watched in awe as the massive vessel slowly oriented itself, its movements precise despite centuries of dormancy. The humans had been considered primitive by Galactic Alliance standards, their technology crude, their methods brutal. But as she watched the Defiant come to life, she realized they had all been wrong. This wasn't primitive technology. It was something else entirely. "Incoming transmission," the AI announced. Before Zena could respond, a hologram materialized in the center of her bridge. It showed a human figure, but not one of flesh and blood. This was an artificial construct, its form composed of shifting data patterns that approximated human shape. "Greetings, archaeologist," it said, its voice carrying unexpected warmth. "I am ARIA, the Autonomous Reasoning Intelligence Archive of the UNSS Defiant. My creators tasked me with preserving human knowledge and awakening when the galaxy needed us most." The eye's form flickered, its expression growing grave. "That time, it seems, has come." "What do you mean?" Zena asked, her scientific curiosity warring with creeping apprehension. Before their departure, humanity detected something moving in the spaces between stars, something that feeds on civilizations. They called it the Void Collective. Aria's form solidified, becoming more defined. The humans didn't flee. Chief archaeologist, they didn't ascend. They went to war, a war they knew they couldn't win conventionally. So they scattered, leaving behind sentinels like me, waiting for the enemy to reveal itself again. Zena's nodes widened as implications cascaded through her mind. And now, Araya said, I detect the same quantum signatures that preceded the collective's last emergence. The enemy that drove humanity to the edges of known space is returning. The AI's form straightened, taking on a more military bearing. I need your help, Chief Archaeologist. The Defiant was built to be crewed by humans, but they are gone. We must prepare the galaxy for what comes next, and we need new heroes to take up their legacy. As if to emphasize Araya's words, the massive cannons of the Defiant rotated in their housing, their ancient mechanisms moving with deadly precision. Zena realized she was witnessing more than just an archaeological discovery. This was the beginning of something much bigger, a bridge between the past and a future that suddenly seemed far less certain. The question is, Araya said softly, are you ready to learn what humanity knew? Are you ready to face what comes from the void? Zena looked at the massive warship, its hull now fully awake with pulsing energy and shifting armor plates. In all her years of archaeology, she had sought to understand the past. Now the past was offering to teach her directly, but the lesson would come at a price. She straightened her crystalline form and faced the AI's hologram. Show me, she said simply. Araya's form smiled, and the Defiant's massive engines began to glow. The Awakening. The Galactic Alliance Central Station hung in space like a jeweled snowflake, its crystalline spires refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. But today, all eyes were fixed on the massive dark shape that dwarfed even the station's largest docking bay, the UNSS Defiant. Admiral Kexry of the Alliance Defense Force stood before the assembled council, his tentacles rippling with barely contained agitation. You're telling me this human vessel's AI simply invited itself here? Zena Val's crystalline form shifted uncomfortably under the scrutiny of the council members. The Defiant systems are far more sophisticated than we initially assumed. Araya made it clear that the ship's presence here is necessary. As if summoned by its name, Araya's holographic form materialized in the center of the chamber. The AI had adapted its appearance, now showing as a synthesis of human and digital architecture, lines of code flowing through a humanoid shape like blood through veins. Honorable Council, Araya began, its voice resonating with authority. I understand your concerns. The Defiant's appearance has disrupted the peace you've maintained for centuries. But that peace is about to be shattered, with or without our intervention. The chamber's lighting dimmed as Araya projected a series of images into the air. They showed space itself twisting, folding in impossible ways. These distortions were recorded by human deep space sensors before the Exodus. The Void Collective doesn't exist entirely in our reality. They slip between dimensions, feeding on the energy of civilizations. A counselor from the Silicon Consciousness raised a metallic appendage. If this threat is real, why have we detected no sign of it? Because you weren't looking correctly, Araya responded. The projection changed, showing complex quantum formulas. Humans discovered that the collective leaves traces in quantum foam, ripples in reality itself. Your civilization's reliance on pure energy-based technology made you blind to these signatures. Human technology, what you considered primitive, was specifically designed to detect and combat this threat. Admiral Kexry's tentacles coiled tightly. And what exactly makes human warfare so special? The answer came not from Araya, but from Zena. Her studies of the Defiant over the past weeks had revealed patterns that both thrilled and terrified her. Redundancy, she said. Everything about human design philosophy embraced redundancy, hybrid systems, and controlled chaos. She gestured to the Defiant's image. Look at the weapon systems, kinetic, energy, and quantum-based weapons, all working in concert. Where we pursued efficiency through specialization, humans pursued effectiveness through diversification. They built ships that could fight even when half their systems were destroyed, crews that could function even when their command structure was decimated. Araya nodded. Humans knew they couldn't match the collective's ability to manipulate reality, so they created systems that could function in any reality. Mechanical backup systems that would work even if local physics were altered, weapons that could affect targets across dimensional boundaries. The chamber erupted in murmurs as council members processed this information. Admiral Kexery stepped forward. "If what you say is true, we need to prepare, but none of us know how to operate human technology." "That," Araya said, "is why I awakened. The Defiant wasn't just a warship. It was designed as a teaching tool. My creators knew that humanity might not survive their desperate plan to scatter and draw the collective away from populated space. They loaded ships like the Defiant with everything needed to train new crews in human combat doctrine." The eye's form expanded, filling the chamber with a ghostly blue light. "I've analyzed your species, your capabilities. Many of you possess natural abilities that humans could only dream of. Imagine those abilities enhanced by human ingenuity, guided by their unique approach to warfare." Zena stepped forward, her crystalline form catching the light. "I've already begun learning. The Defiant systems are incredible. They don't just teach you to operate them. They teach you to think differently, to see problems from angles I never considered." The council chamber fell silent as images of the Defiant's interior systems played across the walls. They showed training rooms that could simulate any combat scenario, manufacturing systems that could adapt to produce ammunition for any weapon, and medical bays that could treat any species. "Time is short," Araya announced. "The quantum ripples are intensifying. I estimate we have weeks, perhaps months, before the collective begins its incursion. I need volunteers, beings willing to learn humanity's ways, to crew this ship, to stand ready when the void between realities tears open." Admiral Kexery's tentacles finally relaxed, and he stepped forward. "I volunteer to coordinate with the Defense Force. We'll need to integrate human tactics with our existing strategies." One by one, other council members and military leaders stepped forward. Each recognized that the peace they had maintained for so long had perhaps made them complacent, specialized, vulnerable. As the chamber filled with volunteers, Zena noticed something changing in the Defiant's appearance on the main display. The ship's armor was shifting, adapting, creating docking ports that could accommodate various alien physiologies. Even now, centuries after its creation, the vessel was learning, adapting, preparing. Araya's hologram smiled, a gesture it had learned from its human creators. "Let's begin. Humanity's children have much to learn, and the void grows hungry." The gathering storm. The training chamber aboard the Defiant echoed with the sound of simulated combat. Zena Val watched through her optical nodes as Admiral Kexery's tentacles danced across the hybrid control interface, coordinating a squadron of drones against a simulated enemy. The interface, designed for human hands, had been adapted to work with his alien physiology. Another example of human technology's remarkable flexibility. "Remarkable progress," Araya commented, its holographic form observing from the corner. "You're beginning to think like they did." Kexery's tentacles retracted from the controls as the simulation ended. "Like humans, I'm not sure that's a compliment. The scenarios you're running, they're borderline suicidal." "No," Zena interjected, stepping forward. "They're transformative. Look at the battle recordings again." The chamber's walls lit up with replay footage. What had seemed like chaos at first now revealed intricate patterns, ships deliberately taking damage to open firing lines, sacrificing shields to power weapons, using their own destroyed vessels as cover and improvised weapons. "Humans understood something fundamental about warfare," Arayat explained. "In a universe of perfect efficiency and predictable patterns, chaos becomes a weapon. The Void Collective, like many advanced species, relies on perfect mathematical models to predict and counter their opponents. Human warfare deliberately introduces variables that cannot be predicted." A warning klaxon cut through their discussion. The ship's sensors had detected something at the edge of Alliance space. The three rushed to the bridge, now staffed by a diverse crew of volunteers from various species. Each station had been modified to accommodate different anatomies and cognitive patterns, but all operated with the same underlying human philosophy. "Report," Kexry commanded, his tentacles spreading wide to interface with multiple stations simultaneously. A silicon consciousness operator, their crystalline structure glowing with internal data flows, responded first. Quantum distortions detected in the Helios sector. Pattern matches Aria's historical records of collective activity. "Show me," Zena demanded. The main viewport shifted, showing a region of space where reality itself seemed to fold inward. Stars twisted in impossible ways around a growing void, and within that darkness, something moved. "They're testing our defenses," Aria announced, its holographic form analyzing the sensor data. "This is how it began last time. Small incursions, probing for weaknesses. Through the distortion came shapes that defied conventional physics, vessels that existed partially in normal space and partially in some other dimension. They moved like oil through water, leaving ripples in reality itself. 3 ships, Kexry reported, his tentacles flying over the tactical displays. No, 5. 7. They're phasing in and out of our reality. This is just a scouting party, Aria warned. But it's our chance to show them something new. Humanity's last gift to the galaxy. Take us in." The Defiant's engines roared to life, pushing the massive vessel toward the incursion. As they approached, Zena noticed something extraordinary. The ship's hull was changing, reactive armor plates shifting and realigning based on sensor data about the enemy's weapons. "Multiple targets locked," reported the weapons officer, a being of pure energy contained within a modified human control interface. "But their partial phase state makes targeting solutions unreliable." "That's why we don't rely on single solutions," Kexry responded, remembering his training. "Execute pattern Sierra 7. The Defiant's response was devastating in its complexity. Kinetic rounds fired from the main guns, their trajectories calculated to intersect with where the enemy ships would be. Energy weapons created a web of crossfire, while quantum-locked torpedoes tracked the vessels through their dimensional shifts. Most importantly, gravitic pulse generators disrupted the very space the collective ships used to phase between realities. The result was chaos. Beautiful, calculated chaos. 2 enemy ships were caught mid-phase by the gravitational disruption, their forms twisting as they were forced fully into normal space. A third took a direct hit from the kinetic weapons, its otherworldly hull proving vulnerable to simple physical impact. The remaining vessels retreated, slipping back into the void between dimensions. "Analysis," Kexry demanded as damage reports flooded in. 2 confirmed destructions, the tactical officer reported. 3 escaped, but sensor data indicates significant damage to their phase generators. Most importantly, we've confirmed human weapons technology can affect them. Aria's hologram nodded solemnly. They'll report back to their collective consciousness. They'll analyze, adapt, prepare new strategies. But for the first time in their existence, they've encountered something they cannot perfectly predict. Zena stepped forward, studying the sensor readings of the battle. They'll be back with a larger force. Yes, Aria agreed. But now we know our training is paying off. The Defiant's crew is learning to think like humans, to embrace controlled chaos, to use every tool at their disposal, to turn disadvantages into weapons. Admiral Kexry's tentacles curled thoughtfully. Send word to the Alliance. They need to know what we're facing, and they need to know we can fight it. Every ship we can modify with human principles, every crew we can train in their methods, increases our chances. As the crew began repairs and analysis, Zena noticed something in the ship's data cores. The Defiant hadn't just recorded the battle, it had learned from it. The ship's systems were already adapting, preparing new configurations and tactics based on what they'd learned about the enemy. We're not just using human technology, she realized aloud. We're continuing their evolution. Every battle, every adaptation, we're building on what they created. Aria's hologram smiled. Exactly. Humanity knew they might not survive, but they made sure their legacy would live on through others. The question is, are we worthy of that legacy? The answer came in the form of new sensor contacts, more quantum distortions, bigger this time, appearing at different points across Alliance space. The gathering storm had arrived. Legacy of Steel. The Defiant's war room had transformed into a nexus of organized chaos. Holographic displays showed dozens of battles raging across Alliance space, each one a desperate struggle against the emerging Void collective forces. Admiral Kexri's tentacles moved rapidly between tactical displays as he coordinated the defense of 3 different sectors simultaneously. The Helios Defense Fleet reports success with the modified weapon systems, he announced, his voice tight with focused concentration. 30% of their ships have been upgraded with human hybrid technology. They're holding the line. Zena studied the central display, where red markers indicated collective incursions. They're probing deeper into populated systems now, testing different attack patterns, looking for weaknesses. As expected, Ari's hologram flickered into existence beside them. The collective operates like a neural network. Each encounter teaches them, helps them adapt. But that's exactly what humanity planned for. The AI gestured, and the tactical display zoomed in on a recent battle. Alliance ships, newly retrofitted with human technology, executed maneuvers that would have been considered insane by their traditional doctrine. Ships deliberately vented plasma to create sensor clouding clouds, used their own damage sections as improvised weapons, and coordinated attacks that seemed to defy tactical logic until the moment they succeeded. Every time they think they've adapted to our strategies, we show them something new, Kexri observed, his tentacles rippling with satisfaction. The beauty of controlled chaos, there's always another level of unpredictability to introduce. A sudden alert drew their attention. One of the display screens showed a massive quantum distortion forming at the edge of Alliance space. This one was different, larger, more stable, more purposeful. They're escalating, Araya announced, its holographic form expanding as it processed the sensor data. This is what we've been waiting for, a major incursion, led by one of their primary consciousness nodes. The void torn in space stabilized, and through it came something that defied description. It was a ship, but it was also a tear in reality itself, a massive construct that existed simultaneously in normal space and whatever dark dimension the collective called home. Around it, smaller vessels emerged by the hundreds. All Alliance forces fall back to designated rally points. Kexri ordered, his voice carrying across all command channels. Execute Protocol Thermopylae. Zena watched as Alliance ships began strategic retreats across multiple sectors, drawing the collective forces into carefully prepared killing grounds. It was another human tactic, make your enemy's strength work against them by controlling where and how they could bring it to bear. The Defiant's modifications are complete, reported the chief engineer, a being of pure energy whose form crackled with anticipation. All systems show green for the new configuration. Araya's hologram nodded. Then it's time to show them humanity's final gift to the galaxy. The Defiant's hull began to transform more dramatically than ever before. Plates shifted and reformed, revealing layers of technology that had remained dormant until now. The ship's power signature changed, becoming something that even their own sensors struggled to classify. What we've been using until now was just the surface layer of human technology, Arayat explained as the transformation continued. This is what they were building toward, a ship that could match the collective's ability to manipulate reality itself. The main viewport showed their reflection, and Zena barely recognized the Defiant. The ship now bristled with weapons that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, its hull reflecting light in ways that suggested it wasn't entirely present in normal space. Humanity discovered that the key wasn't to fight the collective's dimensional manipulation, Araya continued, but to master it ourselves. Every battle, every adaptation we've made, has been teaching the ship how to do exactly that. Kexri's tentacles spread wide as he integrated with the new systems. The collective thinks they're fighting the last remnants of human technology. They don't realize they've been helping us complete humanity's work. The massive collective node ship approach, its very presence causing reality to warp around it. But now, for the first time, the Defiant responded in kind. The space around their vessel began to twist and fold, matching the collective's dimensional manipulation with their own. All crews, all ships, Kexri broadcast across the Alliance fleet. Execute final training protocols. Show them everything humanity taught us. The Alliance fleet moved as one, each ship employing human tactics and technology in ways that built upon each other. Where the collective expected to find primitive energy weapons and predictable tactics, they found an armada that could match their reality warping abilities while still employing the controlled chaos that made human warfare so effective. The node ship's first attack was a reality-shearing beam that should have torn the Defiant apart. Instead, the human vessel's hybrid systems absorbed the energy, redirected it, and turned it back on the collective fleet with devastating results. They're attempting to analyze our capabilities, AirIA reported as battle was joined. But the Defiant isn't just using set patterns anymore. It's creating new ones, evolving its tactics in real time, just as humanity designed it to do. Xena watched in awe as the battle unfolded. The Defiant had become more than just a warship. It was the culmination of humanity's military evolution, a testament to their determination to protect the galaxy even after they were gone. As the node ship reeled from their counterattack, AirIA's hologram turned to the crew. Humanity knew they couldn't defeat the collective alone, but they could give the galaxy the tools and knowledge to survive. Everything they built, everything they left behind, was meant for this moment. The battle was far from over. But as Alliance ships engaged the collective fleet with ever-evolving tactics and technologies, one thing became clear: humanity's legacy would not be in vain. Their children, taught through their technology and guided by their principles, were ready to face the darkness between realities. Humanity's children. The battle raged across dimensional boundaries, a conflict unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The Defiant led the Alliance fleet in an intricate dance of destruction, their hybrid technologies matching the Void Collective's reality warping abilities, while introducing elements of chaos that no quantum consciousness could fully predict. Xena watched through her optical nodes as another collective vessel twisted in on itself, caught between dimensions by the Defiant's gravitic weapons. "They're adapting to our tactics," she reported, "but slower than before. Something's different." Indeed, AirIA's hologram flickered with intensity. The node ship's presence allows us to detect their underlying consciousness patterns. They're showing signs of something they've never experienced before: uncertainty. Admiral Kexri's tentacles worked furiously across multiple control interfaces, coordinating the Alliance fleet's movements. Uncertainty breeds hesitation. Another human principle we've learned well. The massive node ship hung in the center of the battlefield like a tear in reality itself, its otherworldly weapons raking space with beams that could unravel matter. But for every ship it destroyed, two more emerged from hyperspace, their crews ready to employ the hybrid tactics they'd learned from the Defiant. Multiple quantum signatures detected, the sensor officer announced suddenly. Something's coming through their dimensional rift. The void behind the node ship widened, and through it came reinforcements, hundreds of collective vessels, each one a nightmare of non-Euclidean geometry. They moved like a swarm of interdimensional predators, ready to overwhelm the Alliance fleet through sheer numbers. But AirIA's holographic form showed no sign of concern. Instead, it smiled. "And now we show them humanity's final gift. Execute Protocol Exodus." The Defiant systems surged with power as hidden protocols activated. The ship's hybrid drive core began to pulse with a rhythm that seemed to resonate with spacetime itself. Similar pulses emanated from the retrofitted Alliance vessels, creating a complex pattern of quantum interference. "What we've been building," AirIA explained as the pattern grew stronger, "isn't just a defense network. It's a key, one that humanity spent centuries crafting before they disappeared." The quantum interference pattern reached a crescendo. and suddenly space itself began to change. New rifts appeared, but these were different from the collective's dark tiers in reality. These portals shimmered with familiar energy signatures, ones that matched the Defiant's hybrid technology. And through them came the impossible. Ships emerged by the thousands, vessels of human design, each one a variation on the Defiant's form. They'd ranged from nimble corvettes to massive dreadnoughts, all bearing the scars of centuries of combat. Their hulls were marked with the same self-repairing technology, their weapons showing the same hybrid approach to warfare. You see, Aria's voice carried pride and reverence. Humanity didn't flee. They didn't hide. They spread themselves across dimensional boundaries, fighting the collective wherever they emerge, waiting for the day when the galaxy was ready to join them. The human fleet moved with practiced precision, their tactics complementing the Alliance vessels perfectly. They had spent centuries perfecting their techniques, and now they were sharing that knowledge with their inheritors. The node ship reacted to this new threat, its form writhing as it attempted to process this unprecedented development. The collective had never encountered a force that could match their dimensional mastery, while simultaneously defying their predictive capabilities. All ships, Kexri broadcast across all frequencies, his tentacles moving in perfect synchronization with the tactical displays. Execute final attack pattern. Show them what humanity's children have learned. The combined fleet moved as one. Alliance vessels employing their newly learned hybrid tactics, while human ships demonstrated the full potential of their technology. They struck from multiple dimensional angles, their weapons creating a symphony of controlled chaos that the collective could neither predict nor counter. The node ship's defenses began to fail as its predictive algorithms encountered paradox after paradox. Each time it adapted to one tactic, 3 more would emerge. Every strategy it developed was countered by responses that seemed to defy logic while adhering to a deeper pattern, the pattern of human warfare. The node ship's quantum field is collapsing, Zena reported, her crystalline form vibrating with excitement. They're trying to retreat. Not this time, Aria declared. The Defiant's weapons aligned with the rest of the fleet, focusing their fire on the dimensional tear the collective had used to enter normal space. The combined barrage sealed the rift, trapping the collective forces in normal space-time. What followed was not just a battle, but a demonstration of everything humanity had built towards. Alliance ships, human vessels, and the Defiant itself moved in perfect coordination, their attacks coming from every possible angle and dimension. The node ship, cut off from its escape route and overwhelmed by unpredictable tactics, finally succumbed to the onslaught. As the last collective ships were either destroyed or driven back to their dimension, a new hologram appeared on the Defiant's bridge. It showed a human figure, but not an AI construct like Aria. This was a transmission from one of the human vessels. "Well done," the figure said, looking at the mixed crew with pride. "We knew the galaxy would need time to learn, to adapt, to understand why we fought the way we did. Now you're ready to join us in the larger war." Zena stepped forward, her optical nodes taking in every detail of this real human contact. "You've been watching us all along. Through the Defiant and other Sentinel ships, yes, waiting for the moment when the galaxy's species could put aside their ideas of perfect efficiency and embrace the beautiful chaos of innovation. You've proven yourselves worthy inheritors of humanity's legacy." Admiral Kexri's tentacles moved in a gesture of respect. "And now," the human smiled, "now we show you the rest of what we've built out here in the spaces between dimensions. The collective is vast, but they've never faced a united galaxy that could match their dimensional mastery while fighting with humanity's innovative spirit." Aria's hologram joined the humans, their forms merging in a symbolic display of unity. "The real war is just beginning," the AI announced. "But now humanity's children are ready to fight alongside their teachers." As the human and Alliance fleets began coordinating their next moves, Zena realized that this was more than just a victory. It was the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. one where the legacy of humanity would guide them all toward a future that even the Void Collective couldn't predict.